Hey there, busy parents. You've embraced the paperless lifestyle to manage your household documents, scanning and downloading everything to your computer. But now you're facing a mountain of digital clutter. Do you want to spend your precious moments renaming and organizing all these files? Of course not. You don't need that hassle. That's where Hazel comes in. It's an incredible Mac app that clears up your digital chaos automatically without you having to lift a finger. In today's video, I'll show you exactly how Hazel works to make managing your household documents a breeze. Hi, I'm Ashley Grant of Productive Parents, and as a busy parent of 3 myself, I know how important it is to have efficient systems and workflows to tackle our many responsibilities. Today, I'll show you exactly how a fantastic Mac app called Hazel can automatically declutter those messy files scattered around your computer's desktop or other inboxes. In no time, it can rename, move, and even import files into other applications. So let's dive in and discover how Hazel can work wonders in managing your household paperwork.
You'll set up Hazel to monitor particular folders, and within that folder, based on rules that you set, it will look for particular documents. The documents that it finds will match a certain set of criteria, and if there's a match and it identifies a file, it will then take action on the file, and you'll specify exactly what those actions are. Now that you've got an overview of what a Hazel rule looks like, let's go ahead and actually set up our first rule. I'm here in my Finder and I have a folder called Inbox, which is where I put everything that's incoming onto my computer, whether I download it from the internet or my email or I scan it. So I'm going to set up a bunch of rules in this Inbox folder, and Hazel's going to look for specific files and then organize them. We'll start with a rule for a bank statement. So I've got this bank statement that we get every single month, and I'm just going to go through and note some specific details about this particular statement. I'll note things such as the statement ending date and its format, as well as some other unique identifying information like the account number and anything else that will help Hazel pinpoint exactly what this file is and not confuse it with others, because ultimately I want Hazel to be able to identify the file and move it from the inbox into my nested folders where I keep it in the long term. I have a whole folder with a series of folders inside called records, and this particular file is going to go into the financial subfolder and then the assets subfolder and ultimately the bank account subfolder. And there's the particular bank account that I want it filed under. And I'm also going to have Hazel sort it into these different year-based folders. Right now, the file is not in the folder, it's still in our inbox. And we're going to write the rule to have Hazel put it in this correct location. So I'm going to go ahead and launch Hazel. And you'll note here the inbox is the folder we're monitoring. And right now there aren't any rules. The inbox, it's important to note, we put it on pause because we don't want to actually run the rules while we're trying to write them because we haven't refined them yet. So we click on this button to get a new rule, and I'm zooming in here on the rule window. The first thing we're going to do is rename the rule, and because we're doing an ATM statement, I'm going to name it ATM card. One of the things that I do for all of my rules, since my documents I save in PDF, is I generally have a kind is, and then I'll specify PDF. That way Hazel doesn't have to worry about looking at other files that aren't PDFs. It'll just ignore them, and it makes the process go a little bit quicker. We can tear off this rule so that we can compare it to our document. So I'm just going to reposition this window here with the rule, and then I'll pop down the rest of Hazel and I'll open up the statement that we're trying to identify. And I just want to point out really quickly that the statement resides in the inbox, which is the folder that Hazel is monitoring, and that's where we're going to put all our rules. So again, I'm going to note any particular details about this statement so that when I write the different criteria to identify the file, Hazel will pick just this file and it won't confuse it with something else. I'm going to have Hazel look into the contents. So that's the stuff that's actually within the file, the words that are inside the file, which Hazel can read as long as the document's been OCR'd, and look for unique elements. So this Bank of America bankofamerika.com element is a very unique text element. And the reason why I'm choosing text is most files, when you OCR them, the text actually OCRs pretty well, but any kind of images don't. So the next criteria I have is this account number, and that is also unique to this type of statement. So again, I'm going to say the contents contain, and I'm just going to use those last 4 digits of the account number and put that in there. So chances are you're not going to have another document with bankofamerika.com inside and those specific account number digits, unless it's this particular ATM statement that we're trying to have Hazel identify month after month. I usually put in a couple of conditions just to make sure Hazel doesn't get confused. So the third condition I'm going to have here is ending balance. And again, that is indicative of a statement as opposed to any other kind of document. Finally, I'm going to have Hazel look up the date for me, and this changes month to month. So I'm going to make a conditional date. So I'm going to say it contains, and it contains a match. And here's where I'm going to specify the date format that I want Hazel to look for and match to. And Hazel's pretty good about recognizing dates. And you can see it can automatically select a date format, which often it will select the right format. And I usually do tick that one off, but generally I also give it a little helping hand by specifying what that format is, just to be sure. So the way you do that is you just use these little drop downs and you mimic exactly what the date format is presented in for this particular statement. So there they write out the whole word for the month, and then they have the spaces and the commas and all of that stuff. So you really want to match it exactly. But again, I usually have Hazel automatically detect it. For this particular statement, there's a couple of dates that are in that format, and Hazel's going to read from the top to the bottom of the document. So I want it to actually match to the second date, which is the ending date of the statement. Once Hazel identifies the file, it's then going to follow our instructions on what to do with the file. In this case, I want Hazel to rename my file because I always want it named consistently. And so we're going to use that date that we had Hazel find in the criteria, and that's going to be the start of our file. I find that's a great way of organizing files. Then I have the file name, and then I always add the extension, which in these cases is going to be PDF, but Hazel will just put that right in. Okay, so we'll click done, and then we're going to add another action that we want Hazel to take. This time we want Hazel to move our file, and we want to move it to that specific folder that contains all of our bank account statements. So we're going to click on this, and we can bring up this dialog where Hazel will allow us to navigate to the exact folder that we want to find. So we're going to drill down into that records folder, and then into the financial folder, into the assets folder, and into the bank accounts folder. And there we're going to find the folder that's going to house all our statements right there. Now there are some subfolders in that folder with the years, but we're going to have Hazel sort that for us. So there it is. Now we're going to add that sorting into the subfolder. So we're going to select it here. It's one of the lists, and we're going to give it a pattern, and we're going to use that date that we had Hazel find in the criteria from the statement. And right now it's listing the year, month, and day. We don't want that. We just want the year. So we're going to adjust the date pattern. We're just going to delete the month and the day and leave it with the year, and we want the 4-digit year represented. That's it. Hazel will put it in that subfolder for us. Now we're going to save this rule and then check it. And to do so, we'll click on the eyeball here, and it will take us to our inbox where we're going to scroll through and find that statement that we created the rule for. It's right here. We're going to click on it, click open, and we're going to see the rule matches. We get all the green lights here. We're also checking the date here. That's the same date, the second one that matched in the statement. If you click on that, you can actually see what Hazel's seeing, and there's the match. So we're good. Let's go and run the rule. Hit play. We can do it this way as well. And if we pop it down and look in the Finder, there it is. Hazel just renamed our file like we asked it to and put it in the folder that we wanted it to be put into.
So in today's video, we've explored how Hazel, that incredible Mac app, can automatically declutter your computer and manage your household files. We've set up a rule to organize a bank statement, demonstrating exactly how Hazel can identify, rename, and move these files to the proper folders. So stay tuned for part 2 of this video series, where we'll dive deeper into creating multiple rules for different types of household files. We'll even show you how Hazel can import these files into other applications, like your Photos app or your to-do list app, keeping your files organized and your inboxes clean. So thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to helping helping you further streamline your household document management with Hazel in the next video. And don't forget to subscribe to this Productive Parents YouTube channel for more tips on how busy parents like us can automate our household responsibilities.